Hey guys, Ryan Feathers, Elite Pigeon Auctions. You know me. We bring you the best of the best of the best. Again, talking about the Royal Cup, the California Classic, an icon in pigeon racing in America, worldwide, global sensation, superstar, phenom. Is he good? Yes, he's good. How good are his pigeons? Oh boy. His pigeons are maybe the very best in American one loft history, for sure, in the United States and throughout the world. The one and only Dave Clausing is with us. Dave is a gentleman that has dominated so many one loft races for so many years. It is unbelievable. But races where you will really see him in a race that's, if you want to compete against Dave Clausing's very, very best pigeons, it is in San Diego. It is the California Classic, and it is the Royal Cup. Dave, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All I can say is you have been participating in San Diego for how many years?
Since 1995.
95. So that's a lot. That's, geez, what is that? Almost
21.
30 years.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Right. 31 years.
31 years. And I remember talking to John about a pigeon that was very special to John was the 410. Correct?
Yeah, yes. Uh, I let him handle that pigeon for me in 410's race career. And then he gave him back to me after the races were over. And that was the bird he scored with of mine. And that's before the one loft stuff with John. And he gave him back, and he turned out to be a super breeder. And a lot of his youngsters over the years won different prizes in Africa, around the world in John's race. A sister to 410 bred the $1 million race winner, first prize. Um, so, yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny how we talked because being at John's place there in San Diego, when it's dark at night, it's just black within those mountains and in those canyons. And he said the 410, he must have been built with a light on his head because he come in the dark, and he just said it was real special. He told you, he said, this one's going to be a real super pigeon. And John and I have both said that in San Diego, the pigeons that do the winning down there or really get up there and score turn out to be normally really good breeders to go on and participate in other races, not only throughout the United States, but worldwide. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, very much. And, me and John were talking about it just last week that 410 came and scored in the dark. And the first child from him raced was in the $1 million race. And she came in the dark, was third place in 2002. So it's interesting that the birds that come in the dark breed pigeons like that also.
Y-
So
y- Yeah,
another
we
another
talk.
little plus because there's not always day birds, and they were day birds, but close to not being. To come at 9 and 10 o'clock at night is amazing, and not even necessarily full moon or anything like that. So it's unreal.
No, what makes you enjoy those races, the Royal Cup, the California Classic? You're there every year, I'm not saying about winning prize money, but what do you enjoy about those races? Because you're there every year, and I know every year you can't win, but you're there every single year, putting in a decent sized race team. What makes you enjoy those races?
It's such a accurate test of quality of the pigeon because they start in the deserts in Arizona and head west, and then they've got elevation 7,000 feet to climb. A lot of winds through those mountains. That's along I-8, along the southern border of the U.S. in south of Arizona and the southern part of California. And along I-8, you see those giant windmills to take advantage of the wind, which is almost constant. And generally, it's not for the favor of the birds. It's usually headwinds and side winds, but that's just an extra test of the birds. And I found that when you have a really tough course, a tough test, that the birds that excel there also excel as breeders. It's less luck. If you're flying over cornfields or something flat and easy, it's not such a test, and it's harder to pick a good breeder among the winners of those races.
Okay. And I think that that's 100% fair. I know I've had some good luck with birds that have been flown by John and Ron Steinbrenner and Ahmad there on that same course. And I bring them back and they seem to breed pigeons wherever you seem to send them. They're like, oh, that's out of a pigeon I flew in San Diego. Oh, that's out of a pigeon I flew in San Diego. They seem to show up. Now, it's not a guarantee. And I will ask you this for people that have never participated and never come out and tried it. Um, this is a kind of a funny question, but do you need pigeons for the course? Or I mean, if you're living in New Jersey or you're in Florida or you're in Idaho, do you not? And I believe in these handlers, especially John Timmerman. Send the pigeons that you have and let them give it a try. Because you just don't know unless you give them a try. Like before you started playing down there, did you have San Diego pigeons or did you try the pigeons that you had?
Yeah, I tried the pigeons that I have, and I raised them at home, which, Florida is flat, and so we don't have the elevation changes. We don't have quite the variety of winds. If it's going to be a tailwind day, it's pretty much that way the whole course. Whereas San Diego races, it can change a lot. I've got a couple of apps on my phone and iPad where I can follow the race and try to estimate when I think returns are going to be. But you'll see they might start out with tailwinds and it might be 5 or 10 miles an hour. And it might be for the first 50 miles or something like that. And then it'll change to side winds and headwinds and a lot of changes. And the people from other parts of the country, you mentioned New Jersey, and I'm from Wisconsin originally, but they don't necessarily know what they have till they test them. And that's even with me in John's races. I've got some that I send there that I'm pretty confident will be in the prizes and do what I want to do. But I've got more always that I'm testing because I'm always trying to improve. So I'm making a lot of experiments all the time. And the only way to know about them is to race them. You cannot judge the quality of a race pigeon by how it looks. It's so much beyond that in the head and the heart and all that stuff.
Yes. Yes. So basically, what you're saying is you tried your pigeons that you raced in Florida and had some success with, and you said, "Hey, let's just go down to John Timmerman. Let's try it out." And one great thing, like you said, John puts the work in. And if the handler, like John, puts that work in and does the training and does the loft flying and does all the proper care, you have a shot at it. Now, of course, you need a little luck, but for new people trying it, first go out there and give it a try before you redo the whole program because you just don't know what you have, especially when you're giving it to a handler like John Timmerman, that I say he is a very good piano player of pigeons. He plays it great. Do you agree?
Yes, totally. Yeah. And I forgot to mention this too, that being that they start out in the deserts in southern Arizona, and I know it's November, but the weather can be anything. There has been times when it's 50 or 60 degrees and times when it's 80 or 90 degrees. So depending what it is, you hope you have a pigeon good enough to excel when the conditions are really rough like that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, a couple more questions. For flying down there in the series, either the Cup or the California Classic, do you prefer hens or cocks, or does it matter to you?
It doesn't matter. Um,
No.
I've won with both of them, and no, I guess I try to put the odds in my favor by entering some of each. So hopefully one of them's having a really good day, their best, their best day.
And the other thing I will say that people always wonder is, well, how is the race? How is the payments? How is do you get your money? Things that we worry about in the end. You win 50,000 or 100,000. And this is one thing I will say about you. You have won and won and won there, and you've won all over the world. And I know this race you keep coming back to, so I know you're getting paid your prize money, and I know in the basket there, for you people wondering, you've got two great surprises from this race course. Dave, would you mind showing something special there out of the basket?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a guy that won first ace pigeon, California Classic 2024. It was 3 pigeons on the winning drop. He was first ace pigeon, first pigeon in the clock, pulled all of the way. He and his sister were entered into an additional competition called Dynamic Duo, of which takes the average speed among the pair that you choose. And he won that too. So kind of a pigeon that's done it all. I wish I had a lot more babies from him, but I had the good fortune to that year also have second ace pigeon of California Royal Cup. And I really wanted in the worst way to have children from first ace made it to the second ace. And I could never get them to be compatible. And I think I wasted 2 or 3 months at the beginning of the season. And by then, I'm always a little worried about the future. And then it's time to breed him to his nest sister to get some inbreds for future as I try to capitalize on what I think is some of my best blood for the future breeders. And then I like to have some of my birds inbred and then I cross them out. And it can be crossed with a half clausing or a 1/4, 25, 75% clausing, whatever. So, yeah.
Oh,
So this is $77,483 winner from 2024 California Classic.
that pigeon there hurt a lot of people that day. But again, guys, when you come down to the California Classic, when you come down to the Royal Cup, I want you guys to remember this. You are flying against the Dave Clausen, okay? You are flying against, this is a world-class breeder. He's done damage all throughout the world, and you get in your backyard to play against him. And as Dave says, he sends some of his very best pigeons here every year because it means so much. Dave, who else do you have there in your hand?
This is from 2025. This was first drop in the California Royal Cup. This guy won $22,666, as did the other 4 or 5 pigeons on that winning drop. And both of them that I happen to be showing you this time are cocks, but over the years I've won with cocks and hens. But so, yeah.
Beautiful. Again, what do you think? What do you think? Why do you think your pigeons score so good? Is there a secret, or
Yeah.
I don't? What is it?
Yeah. The secret is you got to test them and put the best of the best, because you might buy an expensive or a winning pigeon, but it doesn't mean it can breed anything. So you need a family, first of all. With that family, then you can cross it and you can be more consistent. You don't have to enter 100 pigeons to get the job done. So a family is very important, and mine go back to a Hubin base, but over the years I brought other things in. And you know, when they're worked really hard, some people don't like that because it thins the birds out, but
Mm-hmm.
best ones are remaining. The ones that can handle the temperature extremes, the wind, adverse wind conditions, it's not easy, but the ones that can do that, I've had the best luck with them as breeders, and I've had better luck breeding ace pigeons than winners. Sometimes winners are a one-hit wonder. My $1 million race winner, Never Say Die, was a one-hit wonder in Africa, but she was a rare one that still did do well as a breeder, which I generally, I would say my ace pigeons, like this dark check, have been my better breeders. This is a trophy from the $1 million race, and some medals. I think they give these out for the top 5. I've been in the top 4 times, including a second when I was partners with Ruben back in 1997 and 1998, when first 2 races of the $1 million history. This was for first ace pigeon, was 1998 in the $1 million race. I got a third place trophy, a fourth place trophy, all kinds of good stuff.
You're running out of room on the desk.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yes, but it's
hey,
a lot of cool souvenirs. A lot of cool souvenirs. Here's a cool
oh,
souvenir.
geez, don't go down that road, man. Don't go down. That's when I was a kid. But hey, look at that super pigeon. Did
Yeah.
some damage. Another prize winner at the trifecta in Canada. I think that's your first win in Canada.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, you've flown all over the world, participating. You do your best. You try your best. You don't win everything, but you go out there and you give it your best. And one thing I'll always say, you're very humble. You're not I mean, you're not a big bragger, but your birds get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll say it's so nice. I know when I was talking to John, he said, "Oh, you got to call Dave." I said 100%. I got to call Dave because you're a real ambassador of this race. And I think if you lose the next 3 or 4 years, you'll still be there participating because you know what the course has to offer. And another thing I wanted to ask is, what do you think of their second wind races, the encore at the end? Do you like those as well? That 350 miles, that little bit further push. What do you think of that as well?
Um, I think they could be nicer than I take advantage of. And here's why. If I get a bird that wins $77,483, and then this one won $22,666, they've done their job. So I always pull my best ones out of there because I want my souvenir. I want my breeding pigeon. So I'm satisfied with a win at 305 miles. So I think for those that don't get a good one at the distance with the biggest money, that's just a way that the pigeons can maybe redeem themselves. So yeah, I throw some of them in there. I've I've won a lot of money on that second wind, so it's good too. Yeah.
It's good too. Okay. Also, for people sending their birds, you're a veteran. You've been down there since '95, and you've sent. Think about it, 30 years. You've been sending pigeons by post, or delivering them down there, or driving them, or
Yep.
living in California, taking them there. When is the best time for you to send birds to that race? What's the right week or the right month? When is it? Is it the beginning, the middle, the end, or do you mix them all through? What do you think's the best?
I don't have a lot of breeders. Currently I have about 30 some cocks, and I've got more hens because I like to rotate the hens out of the breeding pens and give them rest more than the cocks. They don't need a rest at all. But I think being that I don't get any big amount of pigeons at one time with the amount of breeders that I have, I'm kind of like the regular guy who enters that race where I can't send 100 that are all born the same month. It takes me a whole year to produce less than 200 pigeons. So I'm a little guy in comparison to some other people, but as long as the results are consistent, that's more what I'm interested in. And that's more what the average person is interested to, because a lot of people don't have the facilities and the numbers of pigeons to send big, huge teams. So, in answer to your question, I'm going to start this year sending them right when he starts accepting them, which by mail is next week. Um, and I'll send them up until he says no more. It's June now, and no more. Then I'll send them to some other races that might be later. So I'll have them spread out. One year I won the California Classic with Super Dave, and he was sent out on June 12th, which was, I think, 3 days before the cutoff time. I think that year it was going to be June 15th. So then I get a little superstitious, and I feel that's stupid. I try not to be that way, but sometimes I can't help myself. But so the next year I sent out Supergirl on the same date, and she was a winner in the Royal Cup. So it's like, well, maybe superstition isn't all bad. So,
Oh, hey guys, if you want to fly against this iconic legend, still in the pride, you see pigeons in his hands that he conquered uh, these two races, the Royal Cup, the California Classic. You see the pigeons actually in his hands. The question we have is, if you want to compete against Dave Clausing, this is the last question I'm going to ask. In 2026, will you be participating both in the Royal Cup and the San Diego Classic?
for sure.
For sure. And
It's
guys, do you have anything to say to the guys that are competing against you? You want to give them a little bit of motivation, Dave, before we wrap this up? Because I'll say something. You're very inspiring to pigeon men and women all over the world. You have anything else you want to say?
good luck to all the competitors. I hope they have a lot of fun. If they can go to his race, they always have good food and everything, a lot of camaraderie. It's really cool to be there. I've only been there twice, but um, I think the trainer, John, is the best. And so I try to, some people say, are you pigeons meant for that race? And I go, well, I got some pigeons that I'm pretty confident of, and I dump them on John. So I don't tell him nothing about nothing. I just send them, and I have an idea who I think is going to do the job, but I'm always full of surprises. So it's almost like every year it's somebody new from my breeding pens that does the job and gets it done. But uh, and I like it when my customers win too. I did have a customer, Brian Schaller, won the 190 in the Royal Cup with my pigeons. He did well in the 305, then on the 350, that mega race or whatever you call that long one at the end. He was one of 4 pigeons on the win there too. So I'm always. It sounds corny, but I'm as happy when customers win as when I do, because the pigeons have been really good for me and my family, and I'm happy when they can do that for other people too, as they've done.
Well, Dave, I want to thank you for taking the time. I wish you all the best luck, not only in 2026 and 27 and 28 and 29 and 30. You keep doing what you're doing. Again, a pigeon icon. You're a global superstar. You're, in my opinion, in pigeon racing, I put you up there right with the Belgians. You're one of the real good ones, and you know what? You've earned it with your pigeons. You've dug deep. You've climbed. I know a lot of people throw dirt and mud and talk, but you know what? Your pigeons always back it up. When it gets tough, your closing pigeons, they just show up and they win money. They make people money. They make people smile. And it's just an honor to interview you here for these two races. And for people wanting to compete against a celebrity that's winning today, a modern superstar that's been down there winning since 95, you get the chance to do it at the Royal Cup and the California Classic. Best of luck to you this coming season, and enjoy those pigeons, Dave. You're tremendous for the sport. We really appreciate it, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
All right, we'll talk to you later, and best of luck, eh?
Okay.